Okay, good afternoon, everybody. Thank you so much for waiting. We wanted to give everyone a couple of minutes to get on. Thank you so much for spending your afternoon with us. And just as you know, we are going to record this webinar and send it out to everyone. So if you have to leave early or in case you're watching this recording later, we're recording it so that you can watch it again and again, or in case you miss it, you can watch it at a later time. So my name's Connie, and I'm here today to talk about our Alaska cruise that's going to be happening in just a few 10 days. Gosh.
Hey.
I'm excited to be here with Maureen and Emma. So, Maureen, do you want to say a couple of words?
Sure. Good afternoon, everybody. Thrilled that we could spend a few minutes with you on this Wednesday afternoon. I have to keep checking to see what day of the week it is. But we're also very excited to have Emma Cowson here today from the Celiac Disease Foundation, and you'll get to know a little bit more about Emma's role and how she's going to be joining us in Alaska. So yes, thanks for being here, Emma. But this is just kind of an overview of what we're going to go through today. Obviously, at the end, we will be answering all of your questions. Make sure you put them, you'll see the little options down at the bottom. Make sure you put your questions in the Q&A. There is the chat feature there too, but it's easier for us just to go through those if all of the questions are put in the Q&A. And we'll get to those at the end. So yes. All right, so I guess we can get started. So many of you, obviously, as you know, we are leaving from Seattle, the wonderful, wonderful city of Seattle. It's wonderful for many reasons, but it's also wonderful because there's so many gluten-free options. So we will be sending, we're going to reference this a few times, you will have a very, very lengthy email that will be arriving in your inboxes this afternoon. It will also have many things, but one thing it will also have is a Seattle gluten-free dining guide. So we have spent many, many days in Seattle. We've done this Alaskan cruise many times, but have spent some other days in there for other work obligations. So there is much to see gluten-free and also much to see in just Seattle in general. So we're assuming most of you will at least be spending one evening unless you're driving locally to the port. So just make sure, there's a long list of things to check out, plenty around, but there's also, as I keep saying, some great gluten-free dining establishments. So check those out as well.
So the check-in process is already open, so you can either go to royalcaribbean.com or the Royal Caribbean app and do your online check-in, select your boarding time, and don't worry what that time is. So we get this question every single cruise. I couldn't get a boarding time till 2 o'clock and lunch closes at 2. Don't worry. We put that in bold letters, all caps, because Royal Caribbean doesn't really look at times anymore. As soon as you get to the pier, they typically let you ride on. So we would suggest that you get to the pier no later than noon so that you can get on board and have your lunch. It's going to be in the Solarium Bistro, which is in the front of the ship up in the top, and that's where all of our meals and snacks will be for the week, which you'll be able to see in just a moment. But if you do, we do suggest that you download the Royal Caribbean app because you'll use that throughout the week for all kinds of things like shows and entertainment, everything. So, and that's an easier way to do your check-in because it can do your photo and all of that. So it's already open and it will close about 3 days before sailing. So it's not like an airline where you wait until 24 hours before. We suggest that you do it today. That way you can go ahead and get all your online check-in done. If for some reason you don't get it done in time, not to worry. You can still go on the cruise as long as you have your passport or your citizenship papers, whatever, your birth certificate. If you're a U.S. citizen, then you can get on this ship as well. So if you have any questions about your documents that you need, feel free to reach out. But check-in is easy and it's already open. The port address is usually in Port 91 unless the ship sends you a message, unless the Royal Caribbean sends you a message that morning. You can see the ships from Seattle. So the taxi driver or Uber driver or whoever will know where the Royal Caribbean Anthem of the Seas is, because you can see it. It's very easy. There's only a couple of places for it to be. And every time I've ever done it, it's been the same place. So I assume it would be the same unless something happened. You can print your luggage tags at home. I've already printed mine, and they are already on my bags. So I'm going a little early, obviously, because we go early to get ready, but I'm really going early because, just I love to get to Seattle a couple of days early and enjoy all the things they have to offer, right? So print your luggage tags in advance, but guess what? If you don't, that's okay too, because the porters will have them once you get to the ship. It just does save quite a bit of time on that crazy embarkation day if you do your online check-in first and you print your luggage tags. Then you'll go directly to the bistro lunch, which is open from 11:30 to 2. And you'll get to see us and get to have a delicious gluten-free lunch that is just for us. And then right after that, you'll want to go do your muster station, which is where you go to your lifeboat, emergency drill location. You don't put on the life jackets anymore. You don't have to stand in line for 30 minutes. You literally go to the place that your meeting point would be. You check in, you spend less than a minute there, and then you leave. It's really amazing. The cabins will open about 1:30. So until then, you can go explore the ship, or you can pop down to the welcome aboard reception, which is going to be in Music Hall. Now, the welcome aboard reception is from 1 to 3. But we ask that if there's a long line, just wait and come back, because we typically find like between 2 and 3, there's not nearly as many people that come between 1 and 2. So it's an open seat, it's an open, come anytime from 1 to 3. And all you're doing is coming and getting all your goodies. You're getting to meet some of our vendors and meet some of your fellow passengers. So it's really informal. You're just getting your goodies and moving on. So if there's a line, we suggest you come back. And then at 4 o'clock, we sail away. The coolest thing about sailing in Alaska is that when you're in Seattle, sometimes it's beautiful and sunny and almost warm. But when you do the sail away and then you make that curve and start heading up to Alaska, all of a sudden you get this really refreshing, amazing Alaska air that hits you right in your face, and you just know you're on a cruise to Alaska. So it's my favorite part, and I hope that you'll be at the sailaway party with us so that you can see it happen live.
I'll just jump in real quick. A few of you are asking questions about the luggage tags, and we will go through that very, very in detail in that email that we referenced that will be coming this afternoon. We actually have pictures and arrows of where to click. It is easier to find the luggage tags on a computer as opposed to the app. That's the one thing that is easier to find the luggage tags. If you just go to royalcaribbean.com, actually do your login information, and then you will see when you click on that cruise. But again, we know it's kind of one of those steps that it's a little bit, you have to look a little harder. So we actually spell it out very specifically where to find those luggage tags. But remember, if you don't have them, your bags will still get to your cabin. I promise, because I usually show up without my luggage tag. Guilty, always guilty. That's the one thing, I get everybody out the door, I get all my luggage, and the tags are never there. So, and I'm 74 for 74 with luggage tags. So anyways, just a little overview of dining. You will see again one of those things, references that will again be in this email, top right-hand corner. That is not this actual cruise, but that's what it will look like. You will have an entire guide as to where you will find our food, what hours you will be able to access those things, and also some of the shared venues that will have dedicated spaces for us. Also, there'll be sandwiches that are prepared in our dedicated galley, packaged, prepared, and transported, and will be stored separately. So again, those will be available throughout the ship for us to access in a few different venues on board. There's also a pizza place that for our cruises only, they actually have a complete separate preparation station. They have a complete separate topping station. They are all trained very, very specifically in depth prior to ensure all of those protocols are being followed, gloves are changed, things like that. One thing to let everyone know that while there is gluten-containing pizza being served in that venue, there is no tossing of pizza dough happening. All pizza arrives frozen, so it is in a completely separate area. And again, all of those individuals are trained very, very in depth as to ensure how to make sure stays safe for us. So yeah, so those are some options. Obviously, the Solarium Bistro is a privatized venue that is the dedicated venue without, if you don't have a wristband on, you are not coming in there. Despite many, many people who try and cry and give us all the emotions, your bouncers right here will ensure that they do not come in. So your wristbands, that's why we ask that we have those wristbands on us at all times. So only those people who should be in there are in there, and that's for our safety. Sorrento's is the pizza place I was referencing. The Doghouse is that's my son Peter a few years ago, top left. They have gluten-free buns available for us. So they will be changing gloves, making sure we're using separate tongs. All of those things will take place to ensure, again, safe opportunities to be able to have something like that in a different space, a more casual bite if you want a snack, a lunch, whichever. It's your cruise. That can just be a mid-morning snack should you want it. Gluten-free ice cream cones. So for this time on these cruises, our Celiac cruises, we bring cones for all of our guests. So that way you don't have to have a cup. You can actually have a gluten-free cone. So what will happen, again, gloves will be changed. Those individuals will be specifically trained to ensure there's no cross contact. There's no cones being shoved up in there so that we don't have to worry about that. All of those things that are running through your minds right now are covered in depth with all of the crew prior to. So yes, and then we have some surprises that will happen on board as well. Oh, and drink, of course. So all of those things are checked, vetted, detailed. All of that is reviewed immediately prior to. Obviously we review the mixers, we review all of the spirits, everything that is on board. We bring our very own gluten-free beer just for our Celiac cruises, and that is the lovely Holiday Brewing Company from Golden, Colorado. Will be on board yet again. We have a new beer that we're very, very excited to share with you all, the top one there. That was created specifically for Celiac Cruise. So if you haven't sailed with us since July, that's our it's a lighter beer. Many of you had asked for that. So Holiday, Jake, Karen, and the team, we put that together collectively, and are very excited to be able to offer that to our guests. So kind of a lighter option than, their traditional, some of their craft style beers. But the IPA will also be on board. And then, we'll talk about later, but we will have a beer flight sampling opportunity for one of our philanthropic events for the Celiac Disease Foundation available on board too. So you can try many of their different beers. But yes, the straws are checked. Every single detail will be reviewed yet again. And if there is anything that we find other than the regular beer, and then there's twisted tea, which is a malt beverage. It's one of those teas that comes together. I don't know, vodka, some things in it, but they do have malt in that. So at this point, those are the two things we already know we're going to tell you to stay away from: regular beer, twisted tea, and if there is anything else we uncover, know that you will be informed.
So a lot of you have asked questions about gratuities, and we wanted to just kind of go over that now. So Royal Caribbean's gratuities are $18 per passenger per day. And if you did not automatically prepay them, if you would have had to have contacted us here at Total Travel, which is the travel agency side of Celiac Cruise, and asked us to add it to your booking, and you paid for that, then you don't have those already. So suites are a little bit more, but regular inside ocean views and balconies are 18 per passenger per day. So if you haven't already prepaid them, no worries. It's the same cost to prepay or pay on board. They'll just charge you every single day onto your onboard account. So those are to cover your cabin steward that cleans your cabin, the servers and assistant servers in the dining room, as well as the rest of the crew on board the ship. They kind of take $1 of that every day and split it between everyone. So, because they have to keep the ship spick and span, and they do a great job. Every time, every cruise, people ask me, what about extra? This person did such a great job. I'd love to give them extra. And of course, you can do that. You can hand them cash. You can put it in an envelope and have them, give it to them. I will make a note here, to give you a little note here, though, that if you purchase an alcoholic drink or a beverage that costs, then they're going to automatically add an 18% gratuity, just like anybody else would. But if you go and just get an ice water or iced tea or regular coffee, decaf coffee, juice, and milk, those are complimentary. So the things that cost are bottled waters, specialty coffees like cappuccinos and espressos and things like that. There beer, including holiday wine and spirits, smoothies, things like that, sodas. So if the holiday beer is part of the drink package. So if you get the drink package, it's an unlimited package, and holiday will be included in that. But if you don't want to get the drink package and you want to buy a holiday or buy anything, you can just buy the drink. Maureen, you have a couple of really special people you like to give extra tips to, don't you?
Sometimes those people just stand out. They're the people that remember your name, your kids' names. When I show up at dinner, there's a mango daiquiri there for my daughter. Those people like that just in your mind stand out. That's the people that I sometimes like to, show a little more love to. So, but there's no requirements to do the additional, but it's just so, you generally know your gut normally tells you if those people are there. So.
Royal Caribbean offers a variety of excursions. Alaska is about going and seeing the wildlife and seeing the outdoors. It's going to be chilly. You're going to know you're going to be in Alaska. Just dress appropriately and plan to enjoy all the beauty and all the wildlife that Alaska has to offer. If you see an excursion that you want and it's sold out, keep checking back. Also, as soon as you get on board, on boarding day, go to the shore excursion desk on deck 5 and see if it's available, because I was able to do that on the last cruise. It had been sold out the whole time. I went straight there when I got on board the ship, and I got the excursion that I wanted. So they do hold some back, I do believe. So that's our secret tip, is that, you know, if you can wait and check when you get on board, fingers crossed that you'll be able to get it. So they offer lots of activities, even if you just get off and walk around. I know in some of these ports, there's a bus into town, and then there's this beautiful national park that you can walk to. So that's complimentary, and you get to enjoy all that nature has without a bunch of spending a lot of money. But there's also helicopter rides to the glaciers, and train trips up into Canada. The one thing about excursions that I want to say before we move on is, if your excursion does go into Canada, then they will ask you to bring your passport. And if you are sailing with just a birth certificate, you would not be able to do that excursion. So if you have any questions, feel free to reach out to us on that. I can kind of cover this one for a second. So Royal Caribbean is notorious for having different dress codes for different nights, right? But the one thing is that it could change, because the cruise director sends this out, and sometimes we've noticed that it changes. Right now, the last information we received, this is our attire by evening. But even when it's formal on day 2, remember, we have the Solarian Bistro, which is in the front of the ship, and it's all hours. So, it's your vacation. You can do whatever you want. If you want to dress up, and it's a great night to go get photos made, and you can enjoy the evening, a lot of people will be dressed up. Feel free to do so. But if you don't want to dress up, it's Alaska. Most people wear jeans a lot and sweaters and jackets or, sweaters. If you want to be more casual that evening, you certainly can do so because it's your vacation and you can do whatever you want. Our Solarium Bistro is a more casual environment anyway, just because it's a bistro. It's 100% gluten-free. It's the only way we would ever be able to do Alaska. So it is something that we love and we really appreciate because the Solarium Bistro is open seating. So that means that if you're in an excursion that goes till 5:15, you don't miss your 5 p.m. dinner because you don't have a 5 p.m. dinner. It's open seating. You can come whenever you want as long as the restaurant is open, and we'll give you those times and you will come to appreciate the casualness of it. So it's very rustic in Alaska. It's very outdoorsy. You're gonna, smell the fresh air. You're going to enjoy the amazing wildlife and scenery. And it's all about that instead of what you wear. So dress to impress is just similar to formal attire, but
It
if
has nothing to do with that top left photo. I'm recognizing
oh
the, that picture is a little bit more associated with all of the things you can do on this on the ship, not some interesting theme night that my daughter and I were dressed for. Yeah. So no, there's an iFly that we'll talk about in another slide, and that was clearly that, not my dress to impress gear.
it's pretty impressive though. There you go. Now
Yeah.
let's talk about the fun things on board to do.
Yes. Yes, yes, yes. There is so much on this ship. I mean, you name it. And there's also many opportunities to do nothing, which I also love sometimes. But if you want to keep busy, you can keep busy. There's a rock climbing wall. There's a flow rider, which is the bottom left corner. I think that's a child of mine as well. So if you want to go surfing on the back of a ship when you're like sailing through glaciers, you can do so. And then, right behind that, you will see underneath the Royal Caribbean logo there, that is the iFly, which is kind of the parallel of what, some towns have where it's a simulated skydiving experience. And if you're slightly intrigued, I would encourage you to try it. There has been, I mean, I know you can sign up in advance. I have never done that. Every time we've done it, we just get on board. You go to the back of the ship where you see the flow rider, and there's like an activity desk, and you sign a waiver, and they'll give you available times throughout the week to try it. So it's fun. I may or may not have been a little sore. I remember my back the next day because it does kind of flow you up to like, but it was a really, really fun thing to do. Again, on a cruise ship, why not? The North Star, we talked about that a little bit, but it's that thing that's behind the pool in the top left photo that takes you up into the sky where you can see 360-degree views of some pretty amazing things. So there is, I think, one experience that's free, right, Connie? And then, for like the premier times as you're sailing through Dawes Glacier or whichever, there is, a charge for those premier times. But it just get up there and try it once, even if you're a little bit concerned of heights. It's a slow escalation. So and you've got other people in there to help. So, but there's shopping, there's indoor and outdoor pools. Somebody did ask, I saw in a question, we'll get through the questions, but there are towels available on board that you're able to have. So those are there. There's a casino, there's a spa, there's a Cplex, which the Cplex is like anything you want to do is available. There's bumper cars. I mean, why not go on a bumper car on a cruise ship? Bumper cars, pickleball, roller skating, country line dancing at any given time. So there's just so much that you can do in addition to seeing Alaska. So enjoy those sea days, try and see the ship, and the Adventure Ocean programming for those of you, if you're bringing your children, they're fantastic. I always find them to be a little bit above and beyond like the traditional child care services. They're not just dropping your kids and watching a movie. They're actually doing arts and crafts and science projects and things like that. And just so you all know, we will be training Adventure Ocean as well to ensure they're aware of and there's no Play-Doh in there. All Play-Doh is removed for the duration of our sailings, to again make sure there's no exposures to that. containing wheat in the lovely play dough, so that's not an issue as well. So yeah.
So, Emma. Welcome, Emma. We're so glad you were able to join us today. This is really your side of the webinar today. So tell us a little bit about gluten-free safety. And I believe you're muted. So there you go.
Yeah, can you hear me okay?
Yes.
Perfect. All right. So, hi everyone. My name is Emma. Like Maureen said, I'm from the Celiac Disease Foundation, and my role is before you guys even get on board, we are checking the all of the ingredients on board and training the entire food and beverage team to ensure that you have a safe gluten-free experience. So I lead all of the trainings for our food and beverage team, not only the ones that are going to be serving us in our dedicated dining space, it will be the entire ship that will be able to see me. And also, we go down into the belly of the ship where they store all of the food before they bring it up to our dedicated galley on the ship. We check all of those ingredients, and there's not a single item that we don't see before it gets brought up there. And we take our jobs, of course, very, very seriously. I also have celiac disease myself. So I am really honored to get to do this for all of you. And yeah.
Awesome. Thank you, Emma. Maureen?
Yeah, so just a few things. I know many of you have asked and inquired about additional dietary restrictions. We have asked you to email those to us in advance. So we do, or when you booked, those were shared. If anything has changed, please, or needs updated, please update that at sending emails to info@celiaccruise.com. And we can just make a note of that. What we will have you do with additional dietary restrictions, we're going to ask you to self-identify, let us know, let a team member know, either Celiac Cruise, and we are going to immediately introduce you to someone from the culinary team that is dedicated in our Solarium Bistro. And then they will be able to hand walk you through all of the line, especially at lunch the first day, when they may not have something specifically prepared in advance, but they'll be able to let you know what is available that meets your additional dietary restrictions. The team is amazing. They're very familiar. A lot of times we have many, additional dairy, additional dietary restrictions. So the team is prepared and they know. We just ask that you communicate. We need you to communicate those things with us, and we will introduce you to the culinary man in charge or female in charge, and they can help guide you to ensure we get you what you need.
Yes. So the Celiac Disease Foundation is there to vet all of the ingredients for gluten, but only the chefs know what other ingredients are in all the other dishes. So that's why we depend on them, and we have you meet with them directly, because we don't cook the food, they do, right? And it's delicious. So, as Maureen mentioned, we have lots of onboard events that we offer. Maureen and I, a long time ago, when we first started this thing, we decided that we would love to give back. So we have some philanthropic events that we would like to invite you to participate in, and you will receive an email a little bit later this afternoon with the registration to sign up for these. They are paid events, but all of the proceeds go to feed families that can't afford gluten-free food. So we partner with the Celiac Disease Foundation, and our food insecurity program has fed like over, I don't know, hundreds and hundreds of families through the years, and we're just proud of that. The Taste of Royal is on day 2, and that will sell out. So if you're interested in Taste of Royal, please book that today when you get your email. It's going to be in one of the specialty restaurants. Typically, specialty restaurants are considered sort of off limit because they are not part of our dedicated gluten-free dining experience. But on day 2, they will completely clean the entire venue that we're going to be using. And our whole Taste of Royal is going to be a little sampling of all the different specialty restaurants on board the ship. And you'll be able to experience all of those in the safety of a dedicated gluten-free experience. And we've done this every single cruise, and it's just the highlight of the cruise. People love it because you get to experience all the different tastes from the different specialty restaurants, and you're helping to feed families that can't afford gluten-free food. You want to talk about the Holiday Beer Flight, Maureen?
Sure thing. So, as we mentioned earlier, there will be two beers that are available just for purchase throughout the duration of the cruise. They're also in the drink package if any of you did get the alcohol drink package. But then we also have some additional beers that Holiday again has donated for an event for us to support our food insecurity project. And so what we'll be doing is it's an actual beer flight. I think from the very beginning, a lot of the things that we thought about is what can we return the things that you're not allowed to do anymore. A welcome aboard cake. You can't do this type of activity, that type of activity, a beer flight, a beer tasting, things like that. So we wanted to make sure that we could bring those type of events back. So that's exactly what this is. So it's going to be in a really fun venue, the music hall, and it'll actually be a real beer flight, so with some information about the beers, the specific details, a little more about Holiday. But yes, so a nice opportunity on a sea day to taste some different beers, see what you like, what you don't like. But I think most of them you'll like. But yes, so that's another event that we'll be doing. And 100% of those proceeds, again, go to help us feed our families. So.
Coffee and Conversation is listed here, and although it's complimentary, it's a very special event. So Emma will be helping to lead that. And the thing about Coffee and Conversation is that it's just us. It's for adults. There won't be any kids there, and it's just for us to sit around and kind of talk about whatever you want to talk about. It's usually, one time it was all about, how things have changed in a good way for people who had been diagnosed years ago. Sometimes it's about which flour makes the best cakes versus which flour makes the best cookies. So we let you kind of take the conversation where you want to go, but it's a great bonding experience, and it'll be a wonderful event. And then right under that, the karaoke party is sponsored by Wow Bakery. Wow means without wheat, and of course it's rye and barley too, but Wow is one of our vendors and partners, and they're sponsoring the karaoke party. So that's a complimentary event, but we do have you to sign up for that. So many more things will be on the link that comes out in the email. If you have any questions, let us know. But if you want to sign up for any of these, feel free to do so today so that you can get your spot before they sell out. So once again, you're going to get the email today. It's scheduled to go out right before the end of the day. So you'll get all the information, and the registration link takes you straight to the Celiac Disease Foundation's website. So
All
what
right.
kind of questions do we have?
Yes. I have answered some. I have typed, so I will read this first one, which I like. Someone's very organized. They put their questions together in a list. Is it necessary to buy a drink package if you don't drink alcohol? Will there be water bottles we can have throughout the day and water available on excursions?
So the drink package is not mandatory, of course. You would have to drink about 8 alcoholic drinks a day to break even. So it's your call whether you want to get the package or not. If you get the package, then you don't see a bill at the end of the cruise. If you don't get the package and you buy, say, a glass of wine or a bottle of water or a Holiday beer or whatever, even a soda, they're going to charge you for that specific drink plus the 18% gratuity. You can bring an empty bottle water, like a water bottle, like a Yeti or something like that if you want, and then refill it on board the ship. You can buy bottled waters and take those out on excursions if you want. All of those are available. Usually as you're leaving the ship, they'll be selling waters, so you don't have to worry about that.
And then the question is, there is a soda or juice package, so a non-alcoholic drink package as well.
Yes.
Correct.
Yes.
Okay. Yes. So that obviously is a bit less, but that is an option. So you can do, I think they call it the soda package, but I think that includes, they have one of those machines that has the 96 different options of combinations of juice Powerade, soda,
Sodas, yeah.
etc. So that's there. Is soap provided in our room?
Yes, so soap, they also have a shampoo body wash combo in the shower, and there's towels and washcloths, sheets, linens, everything. It's just like a hotel room. Um, they don't have conditioner, so if you use hair conditioner, then that might be something you want to bring. There is a hair dryer. Sometimes it's a great hair dryer that sometimes it's an old-fashioned one that you have to hold the button in when you dry your hair. But either way, they offer hair dryers in the cabins as well.
I see there's an indoor pool. Are pool towels provided?
Yes. So you check them out at the pool towel station. That's also where you can check out blankets. Like if you want to sit up on deck and just enjoy the fresh air. They have blankets for checkout too there. So it's a pool towel checkout area, and then you just have to return them so you don't get charged.
Question about cell phones. Can we use our cell phones without buying a package to use for
Yes.
texting, calls, looking at social media? In
Yes.
Alaska, though, in
Yes. So
oh,
here's the thing. When you're in Alaska, it's America. So in Alaska, on land, when we're in port, you can turn your phone on and you can call anybody you want because you're in Alaska, right? But when you're at sea, then you're not in Alaska anymore. So you're in international waters and you will get charged a very hefty international roaming package. So charges. So also we will hit Canada on our last stop. We will not hit it, but we will stop in Canada. And depending upon if your package includes Canada as calls, then you may be able to call from there. Royal Caribbean offers two ways to connect to their internet on board the ship. So you can connect for free or you can connect and pay. If you connect for free, then all you can do is use their app and you can message each other on the ship through the app. If you connect and pay, then you'll have full access on your phone just like you do at home. You can call using Wi-Fi calling, you can text, you can Facebook, you can send emails, you can do everything if you pay. If you go on the free route, then all you get is their app and you can message people that are on the ship. It costs about $20 per day for the Wi-Fi on average. The same way you do excursions, the same way you buy drink packages is how you buy Wi-Fi. And it's cheaper for all of those things if you purchase them before you get on the ship. One last thing about cell phones is when we leave the port in Seattle, please remember to put your phone on airplane mode and either connect to the free Wi-Fi that Royal offers for the app or connect to the one that you paid for. And then that way you won't get any surprise hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of dollars of bills for international roaming. Just saying.
mm-hmm, mm-hmm. Good tip. And remind your children of this too, if you have children traveling with you, teenagers. When do we put the luggage tags on our luggage?
So, they need to be on before you get to the pier in Seattle. So if you want to wait until you land in Seattle, and then you can just staple them at the front desk of your hotel, or you can bring the papers with you to the pier and the porters will have staplers there, or you can tape them, however. But you can put them on anytime.
Royal says to do a health check on the 11th. So
Yes.
that's in the app, right? And they
Yes.
generally send you a push notification from my recollection. And you're essentially answering if you've had a fever, any GI symptoms, etc. And you just no, it's 3 questions, I believe, and then that's it. And if you don't do those, it's still okay. They just they ask you at the port. So if for some reason, none of these things are going to keep you from getting on the cruise ship. So, if for some reason you're like, I never got that, or I didn't fill it out, don't worry. They still let you on. You just need to, of course, if you're assuming you're not sick, they'll let you on. So yes. Just one more follow up on the luggage tags. As we said, royalcaribbean.com is where you will find you're going to log into your account. So you all should have created accounts that will, obviously link you to this particular cruise. and that's where you will find the luggage tags under your cruise documents. But you're going to have a very handy dandy pictures with arrows of where to click to find these luggage tags in just a few hours in your email boxes. So that will explain it more in depth too. Do we need to sign up for the dedicated breakfast, lunch, and dinner schedule?
No. So it's open seating. You come whenever the restaurant is open. And you'll notice when you receive your email later today that a couple of days we have brunch. So we have a time change during the week. So one night we're actually going to lose an hour. And then as we come back, we're going to gain that hour back. So a few days later. So the mornings that we're sailing, we're going to have brunch instead of breakfast and lunch. So it'll start like at 8:30 and go all the way to 12:30. And it'll have breakfast and lunch items, which are amazing. And then some of our dinners are from 5 p.m. all the way up to 11. Normally dinner is like 5 to 8, and then late night is from 10 to 11. But in some of these ports, we're there so late, and we don't want you to have to worry about, oh my gosh, I have to get back to the ship because I don't have anything to eat, that we talked to Royal Caribbean and they agreed, and they'll have that food available during that whole time. So you'll see a couple of nights that were open all the way through from 5 p.m. all the way till 11.
Someone just confirmed me asking about the mixed drink at all the bars. So, our beers, first off, the holiday beers will be available at all of the bars. So if someone says, I don't think we have it, ask them to look again because they are available at all of the bars. The mixed drinks, as I said, historically, we have checked every single mixed drink, the cherries, the pickles, the Bloody Mary mix, and they have been on all of our Royal Caribbean sailings gluten-free, but we will be checking those again. So, again, we will make sure if we have different information to share with you, you will know of it. But at this point, the only gluten-containing beverages that you need to stay away from is the gluten-containing beer and the twisted tea. So yes, and I'm happy to find a picture of that twisted tea. It's a yellow and blue can, but just the twisted tea is a no-go because it has malt flavoring in it.
The other thing we didn't really mention is we don't really have hospitality desk hours on the cruise because we're at every single meal. So our staff will be well identified with name tags or even logoed shirts, and you can ask us questions at any time. Emma will be available pretty much on call or in the restaurant the whole time just to answer any gluten questions. And then, if we do have a Facebook group, so if you haven't joined the private Facebook group for this sailing, if we, have any news to spread out, we'll, put that in there. But we have a sign it's a poster board every day when you walk in. The very first day, we're going to ask you to make a picture of it when you come in because our events are not in the app, in Royal Caribbean's app, because our events are all private. Nobody can come to our events but you because you booked with us, right? So, we'll have a board every day and it changes every single day. So we ask you to make a photo of our board as you come in on the first day and then every day after that so that you know what's going on and you know where we're going to be. And that will help you to stay, up in touch with us and to know where we're going to be and all the details and anything fun that might have come up that you don't want to miss. So please take a photo of our board every day and we'll show you where that is when you first get on the ship.
Very good. Someone is asking, are you Total Travel? I've heard you're doing World Cup 2026 travel. Are there gluten-free events or is this a different Total Travel perhaps?
Must be a different Total Travel. I don't even know what World Cup really means, so I don't think we're doing that, but it sounds like soccer or it might be
Yes.
sailboat racing, but yeah, we don't do that.
Soccer.
No. Okay.
Connie's a bit too busy with 12 cruises
Yes.
next year. So
next year we have 12 Celiac cruises. So no, not us.
This is our first cruise. Do they provide a variety of tea bags? So black, green, herbal, along with black coffee.
Emma, you want to go do that one?
Yes, they do provide several. I love tea. I'm an avid tea drinker, and they have multiple ones. They have a few different black teas. There's a green tea and several herbal teas as well. And I also check those. And of course, they are gluten-free and they're available in several different places around the ship, including our dedicated dining space.
Very good. Someone was asking about smoothies, checking that all smoothies on the ship are gluten-free. Is there a certain place we need to go to get those to ensure they are safe? I'm trying to think on this particular ship. I don't believe there's a Vitality Cafe. Some of the ships have an actual smoothie cafe. I do not believe this one does. But this would be another thing that we will be checking prior to. Generally speaking, it's the same mix that is used all throughout the ship. And it's the smoothie and, daiquiris and things like that that they have used. The mix that they've used before has been safe, labeled gluten-free on the packaging, in fact, of course. And so we will confirm that. And, again, we'll let you know if there are anything that you need to stay away from. But it would be the same throughout the entire ship, no specific areas. When are wristbands given out?
So between 1 p.m. and 3 p.m. on the first day after you've had lunch, you're going to be in the front of the ship and you're just going to go straight down to deck 3. And that's where our expo will be. You'll get your t-shirts, your lanyards, your wristbands. Wow, we'll be there to give you some cookies. You'll get some Blake's bars. I mean, you're going to get some really fun treats in your bag. So that's where everything is. The first lunch, we'll have a roster of everybody that's booked with us. And if we will send you a lunch ticket in that email later today, and you can show it on your phone, or if you don't have the lunch ticket, we can just look you up. Our group is about 250 people on this cruise, so will be an intimate and fun group.
Okay. What do we do for food on port days? Are there box lunches we can take on land?
So there are not box lunches. That's why we increased the time for the brunches and also for the dinners. We do put a couple of bars into your bag. And so that way you can have some, energy bars for your excursions. There's no way for us to really vet the excursions for their gluten-free or to avoid their, cross-contamination. Plus things change all the time, right? Different vendors, different everything. So we do not recommend eating off the ship for, any of the excursions. There are some pre-wrapped sandwiches in Park Cafe, but those are not supposed to be taken off the ship. There have been some guests in the past that, got a sandwich and put it in their backpack and took it, but we had nothing to do with that. And, we can't suggest that, but I think I just did. Oh, well, something like that.
So, I always like to say in this question, if we ever say no to something, it's not because we haven't asked, it's not because we haven't begged and pleaded for the most part. Any roadblocks that you all are experiencing, we have experienced, because remember, many of us are living this as well. So there's a lot of issues with USPH and the Department of Agriculture and things like that as it relates to food coming from cruise ships into ports of call and vice versa. So that is the reason why we are not legally able to pack you beautiful to-go lunches in Alaska. Some different locations, we are able to do these things, but it all has to do with where we are. And Alaska is one of those locations that we definitely cannot do that due to laws. So the last thing we want is to be breaking laws and anyone getting in trouble. But as Connie said, generally speaking, these dogs are not looking for gluten-free bread. But many people have done things and there has not been any issues. So
Right.
just keep that all in mind. But, there are prepackaged sandwiches that are available as in locations that will be spelled out on your dining guide. That again will be in that email this afternoon. Someone asked about pickleball equipment, if there's a charge. So they have designated times for pickleball from what I recall. So it's not, because I think the pickleball timing on this particular ship it's in the Seaplex, that venue I was talking about earlier. And it's not pickleball the whole time. So it would be, pickleball is available from 9 to 12 on, the C day or whatever. So at that point, I think that's when you would be playing pickleball, and they do have equipment. I do not believe there's any charge for those type of activities. It's just kind of a first come, first serve type of experience, though.
Bumper cars, everything back there. It's pretty cool. Even soccer.
Yes. Is there a way to celebrate a birthday on board, like getting a cake?
Yes. So please send us an email at info@celiaccruise.com. It's shown there on the screen, and let us know what day you want. There's chocolate or vanilla, and it's $35, and they charge your account on board the ship. So Royal will make that for you, but we do need to know ahead of time, and they can't do it on day one. So it has to be the second day or later, and it's chocolate or vanilla.
Yes. When or how do we find out our muster stations?
Yes, so it's in your app. There again, you want to download your app so that you know where that is. And you can show any of the people. There'll be a lot of workers that say, ask me, I can help, ask me anything. A lot of Royal Caribbean, and they will show you where your muster station is and, how to get there. Most of them are on the Esplanade or, just at one end or the other of the Esplanade.
Yes. Can my non-celiac husband eat anywhere on the ship?
Yes. So, our dining room is dedicated gluten-free. We don't allow any gluten into our dining room. That includes gluten-containing beers or gluten-containing beverages. So our dining room is a safe space, and it's 100% gluten-free. If someone wants to consume gluten anywhere else on the ship that is not, doesn't have to have dedicated gluten-free food, they are welcome to go to like the buffet, to the pizza place, to Promenade Cafe, any of the places. They can even stand by for the main dining room if they want to. If there's space available, they'll try to accommodate them. We have had in the past a few people who tried to go down and eat the food in the main restaurant, and after one or two meals they came back because our food is so much better. Remember, our chefs are cooking for 250 people, which is much different than cooking for 4,500 people. So our food is much fresher and better, and so many items are naturally gluten-free anyway, like fresh fruits and vegetables and meats and salads, and the healthy stuff is all gluten-free anyway. So yes, but I think whoever is there will enjoy the fact that our food is just absolutely incredible.
Do excursion companies meet us at the ship, or do we need transportation?
If you're taking an excursion through Royal Caribbean, then they will provide everything you need to do that excursion. If you're doing an excursion that is not through Royal Caribbean, then we don't really have access to know that. You would want to read the directions on the excursion that you purchased. And if you purchase an excursion that is not through the cruise line, or if you purchase an excursion that's through the cruise line, then you're guaranteed to make it back to the ship. So if for some reason your excursion is delayed and you purchase the excursion through the cruise line, then the ship will wait for you. If you don't, then the ship does not have to wait for you.
I think you said that black coffee is complimentary on board. Where is it available?
Yep. So I'll go through the free stuff again. It's iced water, iced tea, regular and decaf coffee, juice, and milk. So those are complimentary, and there's coffee in our dining room, in our Solarium Bistro. There's coffee on the promenade, which is in the middle of the ship where the shopping and the pizza and all of that is. And there's coffee, there's a coffee bar across the way from the pizza place. So there's several places to get coffee. You can even, I'm trying to think if there's other places too. And of course, if you want to get espressos and things like that, there's a Starbucks, and that costs, but you can get espressos and, cappuccinos and things like that.
Is it possible to get gluten-free room service breakfast?
Unfortunately, no, but it's for a reason. We don't just say no because we want to say no. We would love to be able to offer that, but unfortunately, That's not possible. Of course, coffee in your cabin, having coffee delivered is different. But if you would like to have breakfast in your cabin, you can come to the bistro, grab the food, and take it back. So we let food leave our restaurant. If you're taking it back to your cabin, or if you want to sit out in the solarium area, and where you can have better views of whatever we're seeing outside, you can take that to go. But room service is not available.
Is there free Wi-Fi? You covered that a little bit, so.
Yep. I'll have to go over it real quickly again. You can connect to Royal Caribbean's Wi-Fi for free using their app, and you can access everything on their app as well as chat with other people on the ship, or you can access their Wi-Fi and pay about $20 per day. And with the paid version, you have all the things you do at home: email, Facebook, calls, everything. You just put your phone, regardless, you put your phone on airplane mode and connect to their Wi-Fi.
Yes, and I think there's a few questions. I think the differential, so someone's saying, if I have an international calling plan, will that suffice, or is that better to have a ship Wi-Fi? I mean, I think international calling plan is still different from my understanding than open, in at sea, correct?
Yeah, and you know what I've told people for years is call your carrier. Tell them you're going on a cruise, and does your current package cover international roaming charges at sea? And they're probably going to tell you no, but I would rather them tell you, because they might actually say yes. So, but call your carrier and then you'll know.
Can we request a small refrigerator for our room for refrigerated prescription medicines? Yes, so we will be, there's actually, again, in that email that's coming this afternoon, there is going to be a small blurb about, if you need distilled water for CPAP machines, things like that, any room assistance, things like that, that you would need. It's a special needs form that they have you fill out. And so we have a direct link to click to that. So what you're going to do, you're just going to fill out this form and it goes directly to them. We should be in enough time. I know they have plenty of these on board. So, if for some reason it is not in your cabin when you show up, I would just ask your room steward, and they can usually grab them. So, from my understanding, they do have a lot of them on board, so they're able to get that for you. But I would encourage you, as soon as you see that email today, scroll down, look for that special needs form and request that today.
There is a small refrigerator in every cabin, but it's not a refrigerator. It's a cooler. So it wouldn't be appropriate for medications or food, that could sour, but it's fine to chill, beverages, or, it's a chiller. It's not a refrigerator.
Yes. Did you say that we can arrive at the pier before our scheduled time?
Yes. We suggest that you try to get to the pier by 12, because that way you can get on and have a delicious gluten-free lunch before you do your muster station, and then come down and get your goodies at the expo.
Yes. Someone's asking about photo discounts. I'll let you try that. Can we stump Connie? I always like to play that game. Do Platinum Club members get 20% extra discount on top of 25 pre-cruise photo discount?
Probably not, based on everything I know, but I don't know that. So if you purchase it, and if you want to purchase the 25% discount ahead of time, anytime you purchase something before you get on the ship, it's cheaper than waiting till you get on. So my gut would say that the 25 is going to be better than the 20, and they probably aren't going to give you both.
Yes. I'm just going to follow up on this question. We covered it briefly, but I feel better saying it again. Talking about excursions, that they provide snacks and lunch. They said in the description they can accommodate dietary restrictions with notification. How to navigate that? I think you navigate that the way that you traditionally navigate that. I have pause on that. Especially, I mean, I think that's an experience that we all have been in many, many times. They said they can handle it, and then all of a sudden there's nothing there. I mean, I think you can let them know and maybe they'll surprise you. But again, I would hate for anyone to have a gluten exposure off the ship, given how hard Royal Caribbean is working to keep us safe. So just proceed with caution, advocate as you would at home, and just and inquire, I mean, obviously it's Alaska. If it's salmon and corn on the cob, obviously we'll want to know how that salmon's prepared, where it's prepared, what seasoning they're putting on it, all those questions that we are very used to asking, but I would just make sure you ask those questions. If we coordinated a transfer from the airport to the ship, will there be a sign in baggage or arrivals indicating who to go with?
Yes. When you get to baggage claim, there'll be a sign, somebody will be holding a sign that says Royal Caribbean, and they will take you to the bus and get you to the ship.
Yes. When do we find out our dining room seating time? So just remember, we do not have assigned dining time. So if you are a part of Celiac Cruise, you do not have an assigned dining time. You will have all of your meals in the Solarium Bistro, forward deck 15. Breakfast, lunch, and dinner is there, and it is come whenever you want. So no
And,
assigned time.
and late night snacks, which are not
Oh,
really snacks. They're a fourth meal, really. They're a
not
fourth
a
meal.
snack. That's 10 to 11, meal number 4, just in
Yes.
case you're hungry again. Royal
And
Caribbean,
here,
we
and
can,
here again, sorry, here again, somebody asked me the last time we went to Alaska, they were like, why do you do it here? And like Maureen said, it's because we have checked every single ship in the world, and this is the only way that we are able to offer a celiac cruise in Alaska. So it's the Solarium Bistro. It's dedicated gluten-free, and it's just for you. So it's an amazing experience. It really is.
yes. Royal Caribbean says we can bring 12 cans of non-alcoholic drinks. We don't drink soda. Can we bring kombucha or coconut water? I mean, I think it's worth a try as long as you're okay parting with it, would be my guidance. I would be surprised if they have an issue. Obviously, if it's in glass bottles, I mean, coconut water, I would feel safer that they would let that go. But again, this is not me on the record. This is me off the record. So I think it's worth a try. And if, sometimes they'll store it for you so you can get it back at the end of the cruise if that's so.
And speaking of storage, they do take irons because they take things that are not allowed to be on the ship. So irons are not like clothes irons are not um, authorized.
Yes. Is dinner in the solarium a buffet like breakfast and lunch? So it's actually a little bit different. Great question. The way that it's set up is you will be getting your appetizer, your first course, and your second course, and then you will order with your server your main, and they will bring that out to you plated. So yes, so it's a little bit different. It gives a little bit of a different feel to dinner, but it also gives you great variety to be able to have as much as you want and to try everything up there because trust me, you will want to. What can we expect regarding weather in September?
It's gonna be Alaska, so it's, I'm packing jackets and gloves and scarves and there's jeans, lots of sweaters and long sleeves. It rains in Alaska a lot, and that's okay. Sometimes it's a mist, sometimes it rains for a few hours and then the sun comes out. It's Alaska, so it's going to be chilly because it's September. So I would prepare, with layers. If we do get a sunny day and it, gets in the 60s, then, you can take off one of the layers. But, we expect it to be in the 50s. So it should be much different from this long, hot summer we've all experienced.
Anywhere we can get gluten-free milkshakes. On this ship, I do not believe so. I don't think that this ship has a Johnny Rockets, does it? It does not have a Johnny Rockets. I don't think it has a Ben and Jerry's either. So, we will have plenty of dessert options and features, especially late night snacks and at dinner. But we will check that and report back though, because sometimes the Cafe Promenade, actually, now that I think about it, Cafe Promenade, which is where sometimes there's coffee beverages offered, we can inquire and see if they have them there. But, some of the ships do have actual dedicated, like not dedicated in our dedicated wording terms, but like ice cream stands and things like that. And I do not believe this actual ship does have that. So, is there a limit on luggage we can bring, or if it fits on the airplane, it works for the cruise?
Correct.
I'll roll with that. Definitely. You can bring as much as you want. My flight doesn't arrive until 11:30. So what would other food options be if it's past the lunch time?
So remember, you have to be on board 90 minutes before we leave, or you're not getting on board. So you'll need to get right to the ship and get on board, because you have to be checked in and on the ship 90 minutes prior to us leaving. So if you have questions with that, reach out and let us know. But the Solarium Bistro closes at 2. After 2, you could get a piece of pizza at Sorrento's. You could get one of the pre-wrapped sandwiches at Cafe Promenade. I had said a different word earlier. It's Cafe Promenade on this ship. And get maybe a pre-wrapped gluten-free sandwich that came from our dedicated gluten-free restaurant. But dinner's at 5, so it'll be just a few minutes before it's time to eat again. Or not at 5, but we open at 5. So you don't have to come to dinner at 5. That didn't come out right. Remember, it's open seating. You can come anytime that the restaurant is open.
Do I need a luggage tag for my carry-on?
I put one on mine just because, in case I leave it sitting at the coffee, machine or whatever, at least it'll find me. But no, you don't.
We have onboard credit. How do we use that?
So you can use it for anything that is either like an excursion that you book ahead of time, or you can use it for anything on board. If it's $50, then the first $50 that you spend will be free. There's a lot of questions about onboard credit. It depends on when you booked and what the promotion was the day that you booked. Most people do not have onboard credit. If you're one of the few that did, it's probably because you booked a particular weekend that had a sale or something. So it's very rare that somebody would have onboard credit, but if you do, it's just a gift.
At the conclusion of the cruise, is there a shuttle back to the airport?
Yes, there is, and you can purchase it through Royal Caribbean on board the ship. Royal Caribbean and the Port of Seattle have a really cool luggage valet service. So if your airline participates in the luggage valet service, it is still complimentary from what I understand. You put your luggage out the night before and it ends up at your home airport after you get home. So you don't have to see it, you don't have to lug it, you don't have to do anything. You put it out the night before, and then when you get to your airport back home, your luggage will be waiting for you at the turnstiles. So there's a few airlines that don't participate. And there's certain flight times that work. It has to be after noon, but before midnight or something. So details will be coming on that, or if you have any questions, you can Google Port Valet Seattle. You'll also get something on your bed. Be sure and read all the stuff they put on your bed, because they'll tell you the day we're going to move forward on the clocks or fall back. They're going to tell you about luggage valet. And then if you want to order an excursion, transfer to the airport, then you can do that through the app.
All right. Well, that is everything. Obviously, we know you will think of questions after we leave this webinar today. So feel free to ask additional questions, info@celiaccruise.com. But we're wishing all of you safe travels next week. And we cannot wait to see you on board and cannot wait to experience Alaska together. So safe travels, everyone. And please reach out if you have any additional questions. But thanks so much.
Thank you so much. Thank you, Emma, for joining us. Everybody, see you very soon in Seattle. Take care.
Bye, everybody.